My name is Olayinka David West. I'm the Dean of Lagos Business School and Professor of Information Systems.
My name is Mrs. Claire Omashe. I'm the Managing Director of JNC International.
So my name is Dr. Neko Kekaru. I am the Director of the Enterprise Women Center, Pan Atlantic University.
My name is Yemisi Ayeni. I'm currently managing a portfolio of non-executive directorships.
My name is Onishola Adenura. I'm the Managing Partner of Shoban and Associates.
Corporate governance hasn't been new to me. I've been in management for over, I would say, 25 years. But as a board member, I've been on boards for about 20 years. I started my journey first with many non-profit organizations, and then I've gone on to being a board member in a PLC, and of course I sit on various governing councils. What have been my challenges? I'm not sure I've had any direct challenge. I think I see that women on boards, and generally some people do face challenges, some societal challenges or unconscious biases, but I personally have never really faced directly any major issue.
The rise to corporate governance comes as you begin to escalate up a career ladder or an organizational ladder. And governance is just one of those things really about oversight and guidance of the responsibilities within the company. But when it comes to now executive or non-executive governance roles, the situations differ. And I think personally, maybe I've been fortunate. I haven't had any challenges per se regarding governance roles in general, but I come from a male-dominated sector, which is the tech ecosystem, and already there's very few women in that sector, so women have already been known to find their voices very early in life and begin to sort of express themselves in a manner that is productive and constructive to development of conversations.
My journey into corporate governance, I think that would have started a very long time ago. And my journey into leadership, I think if I look back across my career, one thing I can say is the fact that there's a huge place for mentors, for leaders, and my style of leadership stems from two different bosses that I've had in the last 20 years plus. One of them in the financial institution space, always led with us. He pushed hard, but he also worked hard. And for him, with the right type of support, any challenge that you faced, you could surmount those challenges. And this is maybe this is maybe in the 90s. So really that had a very strong impact. And what I can also see from that is the fact that working in that financial institution space that is highly regulated in the beginning of my career made it very obvious the role corporate governance had to play in anything that you're doing.
Since I retired in 2015, I've been doing non-executive director roles in for-profit and not-for-profit organizations. And I think the main challenge I faced in the oil industry was because I was working for a multinational company. And one of the things when you're doing well with a multinational company is that they're keen to expose you to different parts of the business within Nigeria and abroad. But I took a decision not to work abroad and indeed not to work outside of Lagos. So my husband runs a business in Nigeria. I knew he wouldn't move with me, so I decided I didn't want to split up my family, and I took what was then described as a career limiting decision to declare myself not mobile. But I would say, in fairness to Shell, they went out of their way to accommodate this as much as they could, and whenever there was a Lagos-based role, I always got priority. Now I cite it as a gender issue, because if I'd been a man, I'm not sure I would have needed to take that decision, because the chances are my wife would probably have moved with me, for the same reasons I chose to stay in Lagos with my husband. And I think that's just something organizations need to be mindful of. There are certain decisions and certain situations that their staff will find themselves in, depending on gender. And I think if you want to keep a member of staff, you then need to make an effort to take that into consideration.
The future can be any which way. it depends on the deliberate actions we continue to take around putting women in leadership positions. And I think some of the deliberate actions also need to come from the policy environment, because some of these things are done unconsciously. So I'm not saying that people would say, oh no, don't take a woman, but when you now know that, oh, from a policy perspective, you need to have, let's say, 40% consideration, 50% consideration, then we also need to realize that, okay, how do we start to build our bench of women? And I think societies like the Society for Corporate Governance are already doing that. In terms of when we're looking for possible directors, it's also about building a bench and not being, being more conscious of it. So if we want to change it, we need to look at what are the limitations and what are the barriers. How do we ensure that we start preparing people early and be more deliberate about it? But I think it's not just the women themselves that need to also volunteer and put themselves out, number one. The institutions also need to have roles that women can play, and again, open them up for everybody. And so even when you write an advert, how do you language the advert, right? The industries too need to ensure that, see, we're actually balancing these things out for women as well as for men. And then finally, from national policies and ecosystems, we need to also ensure that these things are done.
If you look at corporate governance and female leadership, they go hand in hand. And in the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of strides being made by women in corporate governance space. If you look at the boards now, there's an awareness. So across board, whatever sector, we're seeing that people have realized that to not have a diverse board in terms of gender, experience and expertise is to the detriment of the organization. And as we look forward in another 10 years, what I see is the fact that increasingly there'll be a bit more push in that direction, working from ground up. So yes, we are seeing that there are more women getting on boards. We're seeing a lot more women in corporate governance. What I expect to see, what I hope to see, is that in the years to come, we won't wait to get to the top. We start from ground zero and start to work to pull those that think that they can, but we know that they can, to encourage those that can and want to, and then we just have a movement.
I think we see a very robust system where we're all deliberate about making sure we have a fair equity and equality when it comes to the choice of who goes on a board, who sits in a C-suite position. And really, it shouldn't matter whether you're male and female, but we do need to have the representation. I would like to see more equal pay for male and female C-suite positions. That is something that I think would probably happen. Deliberate policies that are family-oriented, where we can have a lot more robust family-made decisions, flexi time, different, working from home hours and things like that. Those are things that would probably change. I think technology would play a very big role in determining the future for women, because that will help you to be more efficient and organized and have the best of both worlds, family and company.
Women are rising as leaders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and every time a woman stands up for her rights, she paves way for a more equitable and inclusive society. Businesses are increasingly recognizing the benefits of having diverse leadership on their teams, and the general saying that what a man can do, a woman can do better. Women have made remarkable progress and greater innovations. They have carved out a niche in various industries. Is it in the telecoms, is it in the banking, is it in the agriculture, is it in the education? Women are doing remarkably well. And the landscape of entrepreneurship is also going a long way in ensuring that women are relevant and will continue to be relevant. And this gender diversity with the entrepreneur community also demand for inclusion, and it's beginning to gain momentum. The trend is expected to create more opportunities for women as we advance in career growth. And I believe that by the next decade, if we're deliberate about championing diversity, providing unwavering support for women, the sky will definitely be a starting point, not even the limits.
So the IWD 2025 theme, Accelerate Action, is a powerful one. Only 2 words, accelerate action. And for me, as a woman working in a space developing entrepreneurs, one thing it signifies to me is the fact that it can't be the same way that we've done it, that we're going to achieve the success that we want to. Accelerate action for me talks about collaborative efforts and how together we can be the change, have the change, see the change that we want.
Accelerate action, I think for me it sounds that, it's almost like a clarion call for bolder action. So it's recognizing the fact that yes, there have been great progress made over the years, but there's still gaps that need to be closed.
For me, accelerating action is let's stop the talk, let's start the walk. We've had a lot of talk shops, a lot of lip service, a lot of tokenism. Let's move away from that and let's move into action. Let government put their money where their mouth is. Let the corporate governance tenants not just be because the regulation says so, but because we agree that having good representation of women in the board makes better decision making for every company. So for me, it's a time for action. It's a call for action to make a difference and have better run companies with great outcomes that affect the entire society, where ESG, cybersecurity, and all the other topical issues are really top of the agenda.
You see, the theme of accelerate action is also one thing we need to think about, that while these conversations are ongoing, what is the rate of change? And we're not going to get to equality if we just continue doing it very slowly, right? And that accelerate action is really about how do we join forces together? Because we can't do it alone as women saying, oh, come and take us, come and take us, come and take us. We also need sponsors and partners amongst our male genders as well. So it's about coming together and asking the question, why don't we want to utilize 50% of our productive and resource capability within the workspace?